we are going to take a quick run through the user interface for the Receptionist tool. If you signed up for that, you should get your login credentials sent to you, the email that you used at the time you signed up. Please log in to use those credentials and log in to this. We call it the agent portal. When you do, you'll see something that looks like this, depending if you've signed up only for the Receptionist or some other tools as well. So right now we're looking at the Receptionist. So select this one, and you're going to see quite a number of things here. We're going to run through each of these really quickly. Let's look at the details page first. We're going to jump around a bit. The very top line here is showing how many tokens are available. When you sign up, you get a certain number of tokens assigned to you, and as you use this, and it's per minute, right? You get charged, and you'll see this number declining. So at a certain point down here, it's going to rebuy for you and put you back up to a certain number. Okay, company details. Let's look at that. This comes directly from the form you filled out. Now, this is a fictional company here that we're looking at, AI Joe Insurance. The number that has been assigned is this. And when I say the number, this is the number for the Receptionist. And we're going to take a look in a moment how we use that. Hours of operation is here, and a description of the company. I just put a few words here. You can make this very wordy if you like, but I think keeping it relatively short is a good idea, just because of the size of these are actually the prompts that are going to go when you're talking to the large language model. So I think it's important to not go too crazy with the wording. But I made this very simple, and you can update this, of course, at any time. Like I said, this came directly from the forms in the sign up. So then let's take a look at the Receptionist. The Receptionist is by default. Now I put the default name as Chris only because that can be male or female. We're going to take a look at the voices here in just a second. This is the default personality. You can change this to be whatever you like. I put some general guidelines here because we found it works better. As an example, phone numbers, we say read out each individual number. We use empathetic affirmations. We confirm a lot of things as we go along. We just put these in here as kind of like normal guidelines for the Receptionist. You can modify these things any way you want, change the names, change the personality, change the things that you're emphasizing, all at your whim. Okay, so now let's take a look at, before we jump too far in here, let's look into the agents. Okay, the agents are when the Receptionist is going to forward a call to somebody, who's it forwarding to, what's the number? So I've got my name here, Bill Moore, that's my phone number. The availability is marked here. I'm going to turn that off for the moment because I don't want any calls right now. So you mark your availability, and you can have more than one agent. Some can be available, none can be available, whatever you like. But this is the number that it's going to forward to, right, when it's going to be taking a call, talking to the person, and if you've given a certain set of instructions as to circumstances that occur that you're going to transfer the call, this is where it's going to go. Okay, you can edit that and you can add more, you can edit what's there anytime you like. The voice is the choice of how it sounds, right? I'm using this one here called Susan. We've got, I don't know, 10 or 12 different voices that are used in here by default. Listen to them, try them. You can test them here, and when you do, you can then pick which one you're going to like. I'm using the one that you're going to use. I'm using Susan here, and all you do is pick it, and it automatically changes and starts using it. Now, I mentioned I used the name Chris in the name of the Receptionist because you can use a male as well, and I thought the name Chris worked well with male or female. So you pick your voice here. Okay, call logs are what happens after the call is done. Okay, so for instance, let's just pick one here. This is a transcript of the call that was taken. Hi there, I'm Chris, your AI health insurance assistant. How can I help you? Yeah, I was looking for help with my policy, etc. And it shows you exactly what was stated. Okay, and this was, this one looks like it was just going to be sent or be called back as soon as possible. Let's and let's take a look here. The data points. This thing is collecting data as it goes along, and it is being put into a JSON format, right? So the JSON format is saved here, and this is also sent to your CRM if you're using high level, so you can update data fields and etc. on that side. But you can also, obviously, we did it with a JSON format because pretty much every application now uses JSON formatted data, so you can use this in any CRM or any other place. Let's see, let's take a look at just one more. Don't remember, let's just glance at one. So here's one interaction, and yeah, this one actually set an appointment, and it uses a calendar from the high level that we were using and sets that appointment over there. So same kind of story. All the data is collected here. The data, the JSON data is also pushed along with the appointment information to high level. Okay, so now let's go back and take a look here at the details section. Now I know this gets a little bit complicated, okay? And because this is new and a little bit complicated, please feel free to ask for help. I would love to, if you've got some special cases that, that are not ACA insurance, for instance, and you would like some help with that, I love building these things. And so let me know. And I think I can save you a lot of pain by working together with you to do this. So when you first see this, you're going to see something. I don't think this will be selected, and you won't see this yet, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to this, just select on this arrow. The admin use cases, you can think of those as a template, but you can actually use them out of the box, okay? You can use it just exactly how it comes out. And that's what we're doing in this case here, right? It's the ACA agency template. And then you just say select. Now this is ready to go. It can be used right now. We're going to show how to use it here in just a moment. But as a matter of fact, let's go do that real quick, okay? Because I think that's actually an important point here. The number that is the receptionist is here. It is not intended to be called directly, okay? It is intended to be used with your business phone number. So let's go look at, as an example. I've already jumped over here, but this is on high level. If you recognize this, the main number, the main marketing number, as they call it, that I'm using here for my fictional company is this, right? 786-733-3662. But I have it set up to forward the calls to that number, the agent portal number, right? So don't select any of these because you want the caller ID of the caller coming, not the caller ID of the agency. You can select, if you're in the insurance business, you should select call recording. Not depending on your business, you may or may not need that, but an insurance agent is probably going to want call recording. Here you can put whatever message, when the call is starting, you hear them say, this call is going to be recorded for quality purposes or whatever. You can put whatever message you want here, or you can put no message at all, right? So then when you have this and you save it, now the idea is from your side, you are going to forward calls when you want to forward calls. So you've got a main marketing number, or of course you can use this for a campaign of some sort. But this is the number, this is your number that you are using on high level, and it does your recordings. This is not the receptionist. But when you call this number, you can set it to forward to the receptionist. Okay, that is the intended use. Okay, so when it forwards to the receptionist, now you're in here, and when it leaves the receptionist, it is going to be either setting an appointment or transferring the call to this person, right? Whoever is set up here as the agent. So it's doing a lot of work here. Okay, so back to the details. That is the intended use, right? You're going to forward the calls to your receptionist when you want to. Okay, so back here, we just looked at how you come here to select a template, and the default one right here is this, and you select it, and you can use it right now. Right this minute, it can be used. But normally what you're going to do, because not everybody's use case is precisely an ACA agency, normally what you're going to do is say to create a use case, right? And the use case name, let's say, is my use case. And the use case type that you're going to use for the template is going to be, in this case, the ACA agency. And when I say create that, now it's got my use case, and I'm going to say select. Now, notice this is exactly the same as what we had a minute ago. Effectively, we've made a copy using the template that was there. We've made a copy. And now, though, we can come in here and change things here, right? We can change anything we like. So, hi there, I'm Chris, your financial assistant. How can I help you? And so you can change anything you like. And when you change anything, you just say update. update the stage. Okay, so a couple of important points here. One is that the very first thing that the actual code, right? Remember, these are all things that are used as something to guide the tool. But the tool is going to look first for a stage called initial. So this must be there, right? You can modify it, do anything you like with it, but it has to be there. And then from there, it's going to move to following stages, right? We have something here called introductions, intent, new, existing. And the way it does that is, as an example, in this case, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to determine if the caller is a human, because there are, bots and other things that call, and there are calls that maybe somebody's trying to sell us something. So we want to find out if they need health insurance. If they do, then we're going to set a data point called prospect to true, right? This is true if this is a caller needing health insurance, else it's going to be false. We're also collecting, because in the phone numbers, very often we already have a caller ID, name, and number. We're collecting those as data points here. Also, we say up here, if the user asks to speak to a human, proceed to transfer. So, when we say, hi there, I'm Chris, your financial assistant, how can I help you? And they say, hey, can I speak to Mike? We say, sure, right? I mean, it just goes straight to the transfer. And the transfer looks like this, transfer. Okay, so here's how we move to the next stages. In the first case, if the data point prospect is true, it responds with exactly the one-word introductions. You need to leave this phrasing here, because this is exactly what is sent to the large language model, and we are looking for the word introductions as a response, and when it sees introductions, that's when it's going to go to the next stage. Okay. Notice this: if the data point is false, right? This person's been talking about sports or whatever else, and it isn't interested. They're just playing with us, and they're not interested in health insurance. It just says please end the call. Now it talks to them a couple of times when the person does that, but at some point it decides that this person is not a human that needs assistance with health insurance. And when it makes that decision, it sets this variable to false. In that case, it says, please end the call. And what the bot does at that point is it takes the conversation that's been done up until that point, and using that conversation, it makes a polite little statement, but tells the person goodbye. Okay, so let's talk about transfer. There's two other functions, because you can see introductions is a stage that's built in here, but you don't see transfer. There's two things, transfer and appointment, that are built into the code, and that's a way for you to proceed out of the part you're creating, right? So in this case, we're saying if the data point speak to a human, right? Because we said if the user asks to speak to a human, proceed to transfer. If that speak to a human data point is true, respond with exactly the one word transfer. If it says transfer, now it goes to a different place in the code. We are now out of our stages, and it's going to transfer the call to the agent, that was listed over here, right? Okay, let's go take a look now and see what happens when it says introductions. When the word introductions pops up, it moves to the next stage. In this stage, you're going to ask the user what they prefer to be called. Now, normally, and very often, we already have the caller's ID, the name from there. Maybe people want to be called that, maybe they don't. So I say things like, I see your name as William Moore. Can I call you William? And I'm going to come back with, no, I prefer to be called Bill. And after that, it will have recorded the name Bill in the data point, and it's going to start calling me Bill at that point, right? If the person asks to speak to a human, we don't fool around. We send it right to a human. Remember that most of the time, a successful answering of the call is to get this call in the hands of an agent, right? So when somebody asks to speak to a human, we just go forward there. But otherwise, it goes on with the word intent. Now let's take a look at intent. In this case, we are an ACA agency. We want to know 4 different things, right? We're going to say we either want to know if it's a customer service emergency, somebody's just not happy, they need to talk to somebody, or if they need help with an existing policy, or if they're looking for a new policy, or if we just can't figure it out, right? Now, every word of the conversations up until that point are being saved, and the bot has access to that. So If this stuff has already been mentioned, we don't have to ask it again. We can just go forward. But let's take a look at what happens here. So if it decides that it is a customer service emergency, then this data point is going to be true. If it's a new policy, this data point will be true. If they're looking for an existing policy, it's true. If it's undetermined, this one is true. So let's see what happens here. If the data point customer service is true, respond with exactly the one word transfer. And remember, the transfer is going to try to send the call to the agent that's listed in here. Else, if the data point undetermined is true, do the same thing. It's going to transfer. But if the data point new policy is true, in other words, the person has expressed, yes, I need health insurance and it's a new policy, respond with exactly the one word new. If it's an existing policy, it's existing. Let's go take a look at one of those. So remember, remember the wording. It's important, right? Respond with exactly the one word new, because we have a stage here called new. And when it does that, it's going to be on to here. In this case, it's a new policy. We're an ACA agency. Now the objectives are going to be getting more information from the person, right? It's going to be finding out if they're eligible for Medicaid or Medicare. We're going to find their state of residence. We're going to determine their age, their estimated annual family income. These are all things that the agent would have to ask anyway. So if we can gather this stuff before we transfer the call or before we set an appointment, it's going to shorten the next phase here, right? So here are example phrases. Here are objectives. The stages, when you create your own stages, it still needs to maintain this format, right? So you've got a name, a general reference for the instructions, the objectives that you're trying to do, and example phrases. Data points the same way. When you make a data point in here, you're going to have three different types. You have Boolean, string, and number, and you give a description of, how to define that thing. And you can save these, you can delete them, you can add new ones, whatever you like, and then you update the stage. In here, you have the completion criteria. So if the data point transfer intent is true, respond with the word transfer. Else, if the data point appointment intent is true, respond with the word appointment, right? So then it's going to go on to the appointment. And notice this is the end, right? It's either going to transfer or go to the word appointment from new. If it had previously from the intent stage, remember, so this is like branching, right? So from here, it either went to new or existing or to transfer earlier. But if it went to existing, it's got a different set of information that it gathers. Once again, however, this is the end. We're either going to transfer it or we're going to set an appointment. But that's the end of it, and that's where it collects data. Now, you can make your stages all you want. You can modify, you can make them fresh, as long as you remember that initial has to be there. And you can delete, you can reorder things, right? You can drag these guys around, make new stages. And I'm going to reiterate that it's a little bit complicated when you're first doing it. I've been doing it now for a bit of time, and I'm having fun with it. Now, not everybody has fun with such things. So please, right now, while we're kind of in our initial rollout, I would love to help you. If you would like it, I would love to help you, and I think I could probably save you some time and a little bit of pain. So take a look at it. If you need help, let me know, and I'm happy to sit down with you and go through this. I hope that was helpful. So good luck with that. The receptionist is pretty awesome, done properly. So let me know if I can help. Thanks.